Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another Korean video. And in this video, it's Teach and Learn in Korea video and Korea video. And in this video, we're going to talk about getting purposefully lost in South Korea. Getting purposefully lost. And this is quite the thing because in my country, getting purposefully lost, you'd probably end up dead. In South Africa. In South Korea, getting purposefully lost, you would probably just find a motel somewhere, crash there, just find the motel. From the motel, you'll find a taxi and you'll tell them where you need to go. So it's not as bad as getting lost in South Africa or probably any other country in the world. Getting lost in South Korea is probably one of the best adventures one can undertake. And there's multiple stories. I'm going to just tell you about the highlights, essentially. Now, you all know gochujang and everything. So, at one point, I had to go, my teeth went all kinds of screwed up. So, I had to go to the dentist and everything. And after the first dental visit, the guy's like, oh, teeth, breaking teeth. And I'm like, what? What the hell? And I start looking at my toothpaste, and I'm like, okay, there's no fluoride in there, and we all know fluoride makes teeth strong, or at least that's my opinion. It might be poisonous, but fuck it, it makes the teeth stronger. So the one day, I just decided, you know what? Let's walk around until I find a place until I find a different store that I can buy stuff at. So I'm walking around, I get out of my apartment, and I'm like, you know what? Let's make this an easy loss. And this is the first time I got lost. That's why I remember this one. And essentially get out of my apartment, turn left, and walk up the street. Then I'm like, oh, there's a river running through gochujang. Wow. And this is about, almost a year after living in gochujang, and I've never been to this part of gochujang. And I'm like, okay, cool, let's walk across the river. And I'm looking around and I'm looking at all the shops. And the secret of finding your way in Korea is you just need to find landmarks. So I'm looking and everything. Remember, I said purposefully lost, not accidentally, purposefully lost. So eventually I get to this one place and it's like, oh, they've got close-up. You know, some Western toothpaste. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And I go into the store and I buy the stuff. And I'm like, you know what, let's go. And I look outside. And I'm like, okay, it's about 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I think it was a Saturday afternoon or... No. I took the day off and it was on a Monday. So I'm like, okay. I took the Monday off for going to the dentist and everything. And I'm like, okay, cool, I've gotten this. My teeth are fixed, or sort of fixed. The guy said 3 more visits. I'm like, holy crap. And I'm going and get to the shop, walk around a bit, get to the shop. I'm like, okay, cool. And I decided, you know what? Now I know where this shop is. Let me just walk around it and find a bar or something. But I'd walk around it, and if I get to the front again, I'd go a bit further to the one side. You know, still keeping that main road that I came in on from my apartment, still keeping that to the side, going, okay, that way it is. And then I found a bar, and I decided to start drinking. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to get myself a beer. And the one guy, the cool story about that is, I'm sitting there drinking my second beer. It was, again, it was San Miguel was my go-to beer. If it wasn't Cass or Height, or Obi. It was San Miguel, then Obi, and then Cass or Height. You know, that's the way I went. So I'm sitting in this random bar. I can't even remember the bar's name or whatever, you know. I'm sitting at this random eatery, bar, whatever they want to call it. I'm sitting there and I'm eating a little, and I'm drinking a little bit, and eventually eat a little bit and everything. And I'm sitting there going, okay, cool. And the one... I believe it was the owner. He just comes up to me, with the phone in his hand, and he's like, oh, New York. And I'm like, yes, New York restaurant is where New York bar, pub, whatever, is where I usually go. And he's like, oh, yeah, New York, New York, New York. And he gives me a jug of beer and what do you call it? Oh, fuck. Soju, Solmek. He gives me a jug of beer and soju. And he's like, oh, service. And I'm like, okay. And I start drinking that, Solmek. And eventually I remember like 2 or 3 Koreans joined me because I was drinking Solmek like a Korean, apparently. And they're like, oh, I can't really, like, it's very hazy. So I get a little bit drunk in this restaurant, and I get out. And this was about 7, 8 o'clock at night. And I'm like, okay, I gotta go home. I gotta go to bed. I have school tomorrow. And I walk out. And I realized that things look different at night. Well, shit. Needless to say, I probably spent about 20 minutes walking around trying to find some place. Like, I knew which direction I had to go, but the further I move in that direction, the less familiar it looked. Because keep in mind, I only see it from this one side the whole time. And I was on, like, I see the block of buildings or whatever from that side while I was walking on the back side on my, I'm like, oh, and I eventually found the river. I'm like, okay, cool, the river. If I cross this river, eventually I'll find something awesome, find something familiar and everything. And turns out I ran into our bank, what I would use to send money back home. I'm like, now I go this way, stop at Lotte World Lotteria, ate some burgers, went home, purposefully lost. Purposefully / accidentally lost. Another purposefully lost adventure is me going to the South African embassy in Seoul to write my exams, right? I think I've written like 4 exams in Seoul. And first time I got there, all they told me is like, my teacher like tried to help me. Is like, okay, you go to, I think it was Hanam Station. I think. But it was quite a distance away from Hanam Station. And all she said is like, get off there, get a taxi, give them this piece of paper. And I look at it, I'm like, Nam Aprika Guagong, and then there's something else. And I'm like, okay, I'll just show it to them. And get off at the station the one day. It was, my exam started at about 10 o'clock in the morning. So I got up bright and early, went to Seoul. I think it was on a Friday or something. Went to Seoul. Get there. And remember, I don't like Seoul. It's too big of a city for me. For me personally, give me a small town in Korea and I'm happy. But I go to Hanam Station, get a taxi. They take me, but they take me like through these winding paths and everything. And I was like, okay, cool. This is where I need to go. Turns out that, like, on the second time I was there, I was like, okay, cool. I've got about an hour to get to the South African embassy. I'm going to walk. The second time, I'm like, I roughly remember which road the guy took. I'm just going to walk. So I walk past the school. Like, the station was underneath a bridge. So I'm not entirely sure if it was Hanam Station, but it was underneath a bridge near the embassy. I think it was the UN village area in Seoul. I think it was called. I'm looking at the map right now. But it was the UN village area that I had to go to because that's where the South African embassy is. And I'm walking and I'm walking and I'm walking. And eventually I find something familiar. I'm like, cool, there's the South African embassy. And I'm like, hey, I've got about 20 minutes left. Let's go down this one street and just see what is there for future references. So I go down that one street, continue on walking. I can't even remember. All I know, it was basically every freaking restaurant, every building basically catered for the ambassadors from the different countries. You had like You had like Baskin Robbins and everything, and then you've had a Paris baguette, and you had a juice bar, and you had some vegan crap on the side, and you just like, it was a very not popular. It was a very like Western centric or other country centric street that you had to go down to, and at the bottom of the street is another bridge. And underneath that bridge is a bunch of, like right underneath that bridge, if you go straight through, is a bunch of motels, which is essentially what I later came to find out. I think it was the last time I wrote a test. What I later came to find out that like the people visiting or the people coming in stays over there for a day or two, and then they move into Seoul, whatever, the foreign dignitaries or whatever. So these hotels were there. And I was like, okay, cool. Go back, write my second exam. Third exam, same thing. I just started walking and I found it. Was it Hanganjin? Okay, but anyway, I don't know I can't remember the station names. The third time I write. The fourth time our exam was 8 o'clock in the morning. No way. It was 8 o'clock on a Monday morning. There was no way that I would be able to make it on time to get to Seoul. So I had to go to Seoul on a Sunday. So, nighttime, I get to Seoul because I was like, you know what? I don't want to spend the entire... For me, the thing is, I didn't like Seoul, and I wanted to spend as little time as possible in Seoul. I think the longest I spent there was when I was visiting my friend in Incheon, or I don't know, but it was like a student-centric place somewhere in Seoul, or there were a lot of young people. Like the esports people of Seoul lived in that area. The esports people of Korea lived in that area. So it's a very like celebrity-esque type place. And like a lot of filmmakers was also in that area. Directors and everything would eat there regularly. That's when I visited my friend. But anyway, and that's how I met Smixy. Sue Smix Lee from StarCraft stuff. For those of you who don't know, it's semi-celebrity, But anyway... So I get to, I guess it was Hanam Station at night, and I'm like, you know what, I'm going to take a taxi, I don't want to get lost. And I just tell them, drop me off in front of the embassy. And they drop me off, and I go down, and I start walking down the street. I've got my little backpack, start walking down the street, stop over at Paris Baguette, get me something to eat. And I'm like, okay, cool, now I got to find a motel. And I start walking, and that's how I found the one motel where I believe like a lot of the foreign dignitaries stay over for a bit before they move. Like, I believe it's the motel where they get into Seoul, they land in Seoul, they go to that motel, and the next day they get to their designated wherever they live or whatever, So I'm walking in this hotel, and I'm booking myself a room, and I'm getting motel, and I'm getting up there, and I'm walking, and I run into this black dude and his kid. And I'm like, okay, cool. And I'm like, good evening. And he says, goeienaand, boss. And I'm like, wait, are you South African? And he's like, yes. I'm like, oh, nice to meet you and everything. He's like, yeah, no, I'm staying over here. I'm visiting family and everything. I'm like, oh, that's awesome. And I'm like, please don't call me boss. He's like, no, it's an honorary term. I'm like, okay, cool. Don't worry. It's an honorary term, but thank you. But come on, we're in Seoul here, And, that's the last time we spoke. Next day, got up, wrote my exam. I was almost late at that exam because I stopped by Paris Baguette and ate something again. But yeah, that was me. Just a little bit of exploring unearths a lot of gems in Korea. Purposefully getting lost. I used to have a what do you call it, Korean map, and I just take like a dartboard, pin it to the one part of my room, throw a dart in it, and I'd go to a random town. 90% of the towns, 90% of the places, I can't really remember their names, but I'd pitch up the day, I'd choose the town randomly, and I'd get on the bus. And all I have on me is my freaking wallet and the clothes I have on me. So with the purpose of getting to the town, buying underwear, clothes, toothpaste, toothbrush, and then just exploring the area around the bus station, you know. And that was quite cool. I think I did that 3 or 4 times. That was quite cool. Found a bar. Eventually, like, I'd find a bar on the Friday night, drink there, and they're like, oh, Weiguken bar, and they tell me the directions. And the Saturday, I'd go to the Weiguken bar, get drunk there. Usually, like, especially in the smaller towns, no foreigners are in the towns, because on weekends, they go to the bigger cities. Not me. Give me a smallish town. Biggest city I've ever been to that I loved the most was basically Gwangju, you know. And purposefully getting lost in Korea, specifically Korea, is amazing. It's like, you get there, and I mean, obviously the stress is there, like, how the hell am I going to sleep tonight? Where am I going to sleep tonight? But if you got a couple of bucks, you get lost. And you are still safe. Another trick that I learned is, if you get into a taxi and you want really cheap food that's quick to make, that's like you want a quick bite to eat, you basically get into a taxi, and you, like, what I said was basically, taxi, you, taxi, you. And he looks at me like, oh, okay. And he parks off, and you see like a bunch of taxis, like 3 or 4 taxis around this very small, like building thing, like a very small, like, it doesn't even look like a restaurant. It's like a sort of a takeaway type thing. And you get there, you order something, and within 5 minutes you get it and you leave. And it's filling and everything. That was one of the tricks I pulled off that I eventually learned, is like, you ask the taxi driver where he eats on his breaks. And it's usually just, they take you to, like, it's dodgy as hell. But man, food is filling. Like, where usually you wait 10 minutes for gimbap, you wait 5 minutes for gimbap there. And you're like, I don't know if anything is cooked properly, but fuck it, I'm eating it, you know. But purposefully getting lost in Korea is probably one of the things, if ever you decide to go to Korea, get purposefully lost. You know, in the sense of, get off the bus station, look around you, see what it looks like, take a couple of landmarks, take in a couple of landmarks, like, okay, cool, that's over there. So, and you know, this building's over there, this building, this PC bung / this thing is over here, this is Lion PC bung or whatever PC bung, cool. And you find another PC bung, you're like, okay, cool, if I can just find these, and you find like, ooh, that's something, karaoke room, norebang, oh, and that's a dance class, or ooh, that's a hagwon. You just find like 3 or 4 places that you know, you pick a direction and you walk. Or you get into a taxi and tell them to drop you off near a motel. They drop you off, you're like, okay, cool, I have no idea where I'm at. And you just start exploring. And that is probably one of the coolest things you can do in Korea. Listen, if ever you visit Korea, or whatever, let's say you're in Korea for a month, set aside 2 to 3 days. Don't plan out your entire vacation. Like, oh, day 1, we're going to arrive, and day 2, we're going to be in that city, and day 3, we're going to be in that city, and day 4. No. You do that, but allow 2 to 3 days, maybe even 4 days, to like, there's nothing planned here. Let's pick a random place and get purposefully lost. That's the best thing you can do in Korea. And that's also how you find some cool friends, right? Speaking of friends, we're going to get back to my talk part of the Korean thing, where I meet up with friends in the next video, where I meet up with friends, a random encounter with a friend that I never expected to run into. I think it was on Seoul Station. But anyway, I'm not going to say too much. And running into friends and realizing how close the other TaLK scholars were to my place, but I never made the effort to find out. And unfortunately, you know, bunch of stuff. Random encounters with friends and planned encounters with the TaLK company, group, whatever. That's what we're going to talk about in the next one. It's probably going to be a 2-parter because I'm probably going to try and hit everything that I have in there. And yes, I'm going to mention a couple of beautiful women and everything. I'm an author, I'm a writer. You know, I fall in love very easily. I get a crush very easily on someone. That's my curse, I guess. But there's a lot of stuff that I could talk about with random encounters and everything. And I wish I remembered everything more. But the problem is, let me tell you the one thing. Me having motion sickness and everything, I get to a place, I don't want to know the place's name. I just want to get to the closest shop, get me some water, and just get something in my belly so that I can do things, so that I can focus. And I've, like 90% of the places I've visited, I don't know their names. I literally have to go Google them before I make these videos. But anyway, oh crap, this video is going on long enough. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll see you in the next one. Get purposely lost in South Korea. It's probably the safest and most exciting thing you can do with your time there. Thank you everybody for watching, and then I'll see you in the next video.